Hey everyone, it's Spencer Hawes here, and welcome back to the Niche Pursuits podcast. So, what do you do if you want to do some link building, but you really don't want to do any guest posting, right? What are some other strategies that you can be doing that are really going to drive results for your website? Today, I have Jeff Oxford from linkhunter.com on the show, and he really is an expert link builder. He has an SEO agency with several employees, and he's been in the business since 2010. He knows what he's talking about. And so I wanted to bring him on to pick his brain for unique link building ideas. What are some things that you can be doing to reach out that are almost guaranteed to get results? He's done these things over and over and over again for his clients. And so he came on the show and is willing to share those very specific link building strategies that, I'll be honest, I think would work for just about any niche that you're in. And so not only does he share some of these, but he actually shows some of the results. If you're watching on video, you can see the video results of some of these campaigns. And of course, we talk through the audio here as well. Now, like I said, Jeff is also the founder of Link Hunter. It is a link prospecting tool that makes it really easy to prospect and find contacts, to actually contact those people through email automation and to get results in your link building campaigns. It is a really easy to use tool. I have gained access to it and I've used it, and I can tell you that it is put together really, really well. And if you want to gain access to Link Hunter for a discount, Jeff was kind enough to give a 50% off discount for your first month. And you always get a 7-day free trial. So you can get a 7-day free trial and you can get 50% off your first month by going to nichepursuits.com/linkhunter. And you need to use coupon code Niche Pursuits. So with that, I'm excited to have Jeff Oxford on the podcast and to hear his story. And I really do think you'll get some takeaways here for some link building ideas. Hey, Jeff, welcome to the Niche Pursuits podcast.
Thanks for having me, Spencer.
Yeah, it is great to connect. We've exchanged a few emails, and I understand that you've read Niche Pursuits for a couple of years, which I appreciate very much. And you are also the founder of Link Hunter, which we're going to dive into here in just a second. But for people that are not familiar with who you are and what you've been up to professionally, can you just give us a quick background on some of either the businesses you've been involved with or just your education and professional background?
Yeah, sure. So I first got into SEO back in 2010, so about a little over a decade ago. I just graduated college. I heard of all these people making money online with either AdSense or drop shipping. So first thing I did was I started an e-commerce site that drop shipped beer pong tables.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I took my all my great knowledge from college about beer pong and tried to apply it with SEO. So I taught myself SEO mainly just following like Moz blog. Back then it was like Aaron Wall, Rand Fishkin were kind of the ones I went to most for SEO information. Then I got it. I taught myself enough to get a job full time because I was out of college looking for work. So I worked as an SEO specialist for a bit. Then I worked for a larger internet marketing company, managing their SEO department. Then about 2013, I left to just start kind of my own freelancing thing. So for the last 7 years, my main focus has been on e-commerce SEO and link building. And then about 3 years ago is when I started Link Hunter. So pretty much all things SEO.
Yeah, and so the outsourcing agency that you have now, is that you're working with lots of different clients doing just all of their SEO? Is that kind of
anything that touches SEO, we have somehow incorporated into our SOPs and our processes to touch. So, as part of our SEO agency, we have writers and link builders and on-page SEO experts and developers and designers. So, all the resources you need for a full-scale SEO campaign.
And primarily you're focused on e-commerce, you said.
Yeah, primarily, like, I kind of niche myself into e-commerce just because, there's so many people offering SEO, and to stand out from the crowd, I thought, maybe I'll niche down a little bit and segment myself by focusing on e-commerce, which has been a huge decision. I mean, that alone is a huge market, and it's helped get more clients because if someone's just looking for SEO, if you're an e-commerce site and you want SEO, you might be more likely to work on a company that specializes it than just another SEO provider that does everything.
Right. Absolutely. So if I add a e-commerce store to Own the Yard, my niche site,
Mhm.
and I'm too lazy to do all the SEO and link building for that, what would kind of be, and I went to you guys, what would be kind of the first strategies that you would implement, either link building wise or otherwise?
Yeah, so here's our philosophy. Our goal is to get your site, apply the 80/20, and get your site as close to perfectly optimized as possible in 2 months. Assuming you're on Shopify and not like Yahoo stores. I mean, if you're on
Hmm.
some of those older platforms, it's going to be it could be longer, more technical fixes, but Shopify is pretty SEO friendly out of the box. So we don't have to go too much time cleaning up some of those technical issues or canonicalization issues and things like that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start optimizing your pages, metadata. That's pretty straightforward. Just title tags, meta descriptions, header tags. We use Surfer SEO to optimize content. So we'll be making sure all your top category pages have at least maybe 200 to 300 or maybe even 500 words of content,
Hmm.
and then optimize that content with Surfer. We'll look at you. We'll do a navigate. I mean, how big is of a site are we talking about? Is this like hundreds of products, dozens of products, thousands of products?
Oh, I mean, it's all imaginary at this
Okay,
point,
Matt.
but
Okay, let's
right.
say
I don't have one, but yeah,
right.
I've got hundreds of products.
Hundreds of products. So like we if you have a large navigation, we might do some optimization to see which pages really need to be in the top navigation. Sometimes e-commerce sites just put everything in there, and you have some really small accessory pages that are siphoning link juice from more important pages, and it can get too cluttered. So we might do that. Get your internal linking structure. So long story short, 2 months, we want your site to be set.
Hmm.
And then after that, 90% of our focus is going to be on link building. And our thought process is there's very minimal benefits of just tweaking the same page over and over. Like with SEO, there's so much noise that there's no way to know, like, okay, you have a title tag, maybe you just like change this one word around and your rankings go up. Well, did it go up because of that change? Did it go up because Google might have had an internal shift? Did it go up because your competitors did something that lowered their rankings? So it's we don't really we want to get it how we like it, and let's move on and really focus on link building.
Hmm. Yep, absolutely. So what do you guys do for link building? I mean, especially, I mean, e-commerce can be a little bit
Yeah.
different than other types of sites, but like what are some of the strategies? Is it just a lot of outreach?
It's a lot of outreach.
Yeah.
It's every link we build starts with an email. Um, so start, I'll just get the easy ones out of the way that everyone knows about. Guest posting still works, not as well. Typically, we've had more success. Like I don't even have a good word for it, but instead of if you create a brand new guest post, that page has no authority. It's not going to do when it gets published, it's not going to help you very much. But
Right.
maybe there's a page on the site like give me a niche that you'd be talking about. Maybe it's like baseball or wedding or something like that.
So the garden niche.
Garden niche, perfect.
Yeah.
So you're reaching out to a lot of gardening blogs. I mean, if you get a brand new post on a gardening site, it's not going to help as much. But maybe they have like an article about like how to choose the best soil, but it's only maybe 500 or 1,000 words. We've had more success finding those pages and say, hey, we have some great ideas for this page. Here's kind of a proposed outline that we'd like to do. What do you think? Can we beef up this page for you? And a lot of the times we'll update the outdated content for them, add hundreds of words to it, update any outdated information, and update the citations. And doing so, there might happen to be a link going back to the client's website. So we got way more results doing that than guest posting. When we actually looked at the impact of guest posting, it wasn't that strong because a lot of the guest posts have no authority. But if you find pages with existing authority that are outdated, update those, include a link back, that's going to have a much stronger SEO impact.
That's really interesting. I could see that it would for sure have a bigger SEO impact. What sort of do you see a higher response rate for something like that when you're doing compared to like a cold guest post outreach, right? Because that's kind of different. I
Mm-hmm.
suspect that I don't see a lot of emails of people saying, "Hey, I'd love to update this article
Yeah.
I'm going to write." an extra 500 words, etc.?
This works best on like medium tier websites, so like domain rating 20 to 40, I'd say.
Okay.
And anyone that's done guest posting, first thing you're going to realize, 90% of the sites you reach out to offering a guest post are going to charge you. So it's just the name of the game. This is how bloggers make. I mean, and I say that same for the medium tier. Like if you're legit, I'm guessing with you, you probably have some guest posts on niche pursuits,
Mm-hmm.
and you're probably not charging them, but you're only letting in people who they're really professionals. They have good knowledge. A lot of those domain rating 20 to 40 blogs, they'll accept anyone as guest posts. They might have some editorial control and some guidelines, but they're going to charge you for it. That's how they're getting paid, and that's how they're making money. So my thought is, well, if you're going to pay for it anyway, might as well get it on a page that's going to provide more SEO value.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. So, very good. We're going to keep talking about link building. We're going to get back to some other strategies here in a second, but I want to catch people up with the story of Link Hunter. Why don't you let people know what Link Hunter is and when you started it, and I guess why you started it as well.
Sure. So starting with why I started it, my SEO company, our minimums to work with someone was 3,000 a month. And there's a lot of people who are just getting started. Maybe they don't have that kind of budget, but they have a lot of time. And I didn't really have a good solution or a good place to point them, just because if you outsource link building and you're new to it, it can be costly. So I wanted to create something that people could use to do it themselves. So I didn't have to keep saying, no, sorry, I can't help you. I had something I could point them to, because it kept coming up over and over again, where someone only has maybe a few $100 to spend a month, or maybe $1,000 to spend a month. And so that's where Link Hunter came in. I wanted to fill a gap in the market. I mean, there's Pitchbox, there's BuzzStream, all of which are great tools, but they're designed more for either like people have been doing SEO for a long time and know link building inside and out, or you have a large outreach team and you need to have like more user management and internal reporting. Those tools are great for that. And I'll even say it. My agency uses BuzzStream, so I have nothing bad to say about those tools. Where Link Hunter comes in is maybe you're a solo user, maybe you just have some affiliate sites, or you have a VA, and you just want to get some results really quickly and inexpensively. Link Hunter is built to kind of guide you through the link building process to get results. So if you have no idea how to do link building, where to start, Link Hunter, it's literally structured in a workflow where it's very difficult to fail. Whereas kind of BuzzStream and Pitchbox, it's like putting the kid in the sandbox and it's like, here's all your toys, go at it. This is kind of more of like, it puts you on a track, a linear
Mm-hmm.
progression to get results. So you sign up, first thing it's going to ask you is, how do you want to build links? Do you want to do guest posting? Do you want to promote some content? Do you want to do some product reviews? Or do you want to kind of use your own, or do you want to upload some sites to build links off of? So you start a campaign. We'll use guest posting just because everyone knows that. You'll enter a few keywords that describe the kind of sites you want to get links from. So if you sell furniture, maybe you'll put in like interior design and home decorating, because those are the kind of sites that are likely to link to you. Link Hunter is going to pull a whole bunch of different websites, fresh data. We don't have a database. All the data is pulled live. It's going to pull hundreds of websites that are likely to link to you. So if you're doing a guest posting campaign, we're only going to show you sites that have published a guest post before. So that way you're going to have a higher success rate. It's powered by Hunter.io's API. So it's going to pull in email addresses for every single prospect. And then it also has metrics for domain authority. It'll show you how many keywords the site's ranking for, so you can kind of gauge what's the SEO impact of this link going to be. It has some pre-written email templates that we've used for our agency. So from doing link building for 7 years, we've gotten to see which types of email templates work really well. So we have multiple email templates that we know are tried and true and proven. And then I think that pretty much covers it. It syncs with your Google account. It'll sync, or if you have IMAP, SMTP, you can connect it to your email account that way. So it's all built out. Within 2 minutes, you'll have a full link building campaign. You just click the prospect. If it looks good, send, and you can get a whole bunch of pitches sent out really quickly.
Yeah, so it sounds like a great tool. In fact, I've logged in. I've tried it out a couple of times. It's easy to use. It's pretty intuitive. So I think you actually did a really good job there. And we're going to talk a little bit more again about some link building campaigns, but I'm just curious how the business it's going. How is Link Hunter doing?
Yeah, it's definitely been a learning experience. I first launched in 2017, and it's a very ambitious project, like making a tool that can get someone white hat link building results for someone who doesn't have any SEO or link building knowledge. But so I've had a lot of learnings around the way. I first did like a soft launch in 2017 and realized that people were kind of struggling on how to create a link building campaign. So we kind of revamped that whole process and launched it again in 2018. And then we realized people were creating their link building campaigns, but now they're not contacting anyone. So then we made some changes, improved it again. And we've got to the point where we did our last kind of promotion about 6 months ago, and we're finally at a point where users are sticking. It's providing a good user experience. The start to end process is super helpful. We have like built-in tooltips that will kind of walk you through the platform. We have help videos at every single step, so it kind of explains how to do it, why to do it. So you could literally hand it off to a VA now and kind of just let them at it. As far as how it's been doing, it's been doing good. Like we're finally profitable. Software is a huge investment, and now
Mm-hmm.
we're finally in the green, which is very happy.
Awesome. Very good. Do you have a partner in the business, or how does that
It's
work?
just me and my developer in the Philippines.
Okay. Yep. That's good. Is that a developer that you've known for a long time,
No,
since you've been in
it's
the Philippines before?
yeah. Well, sort of. I lived in a city called Cebu in the Philippines, and while I was there, I just did some research. Cebu Ruby developers, because I decided I probably need Ruby on Rails for my app, and found this guy, and we've been working together ever since.
Very good. And who does the support?
For the past 3 years, it was just me.
Yeah.
I just a few months ago brought in someone to help me with customer support and some other marketing initiatives.
Yeah. I think it's actually good that, I'm created a couple of software products, Longtail Pro, and I was the same. I did the support for probably almost the first 3 years. It was
Yeah.
basically just me. And I think that's good because you get all the feedback,
Hmm.
good and bad. You see where people are finding bugs or they don't understand. And I'm sure that's helped you. Like you said, you've been relaunching based on a lot of that feedback. And so, as much of, as annoying as it is to like do customer support, when you're trying to grow a SaaS company, like it's sort of a necessary evil if you're bootstrapped and on your own.
For sure. I mean, I'll tell you one takeaway I learned just from doing customer support is I launched this thinking this is going to be the beginner-friendly solo user tool, and it's going to be a lot of people that want to do link building but haven't had any SEO knowledge. That was my assumption. But talking with users, I was surprised that almost more than half of it were SEO experts. Like they've done
Hmm.
SEO or they do consulting. And I mean, because what I realize is there's a lot of SEO professionals that still struggle with link building because it is so hard and it is so complex.
Hmm.
So yeah, we started kind of making some changes to make it more friendly for someone who has lots of SEO knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's good. And also, just kind of a side note, I'm thinking about one company in particular that's here local, where I'm at. They're an SEO company, but really they started out as a web design
Hmm.
agency, right? They had a lot of graphic designers and web designers, and they sort of bolted on this SEO thing. And I think about their agency, I'm like, nobody on your team really has any real SEO experience,
Yeah.
but they are where businesses go to get their SEO work done. And so there's probably a lot of agencies like that that would use Link Hunter, right? They need something that's beginner
Exactly.
friendly because they honestly don't have that much experience.
You would be shocked how many legitimate big name thousands of dollars a month SEO companies struggle with link building. I wouldn't be surprised if a large portion of them are just outsourcing it or white labeling it another company because it is so difficult.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. And you actually had a story that you shared briefly that I don't know what year, but back in the day, you worked for a large SEO agency and you found out something similar. Why don't you share what you found out?
So I worked for a large SEO company. Was brought in as their SEO manager back in 2011, and I when I came in, I'm so excited. Like, wow, I'm in the big leagues now. These people must know SEO inside and out. Like they're charging clients sometimes 10,000 a month, 20,000 a month, so they must really have their stuff together. I find as I'm kind of getting brought up to speed, I'm learning about their link building process. It's all just PBNs and directory submission and just all this. I mean, it was still pretty bad. I mean, now it's like don't even touch it. Back then it was like, well, be careful with it, small amounts. But yeah, they were doing bulk directory submission. They were using the Build My Rank private blog network. I mean, to their point, they were getting really good results, but this is 2011. And for those of you that have been doing this for a while, might remember 2012 is when they dropped the Penguin update, which really turned things upside down. So it was not fun being the escalation point when almost all the campaigns had negative rankings.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just crazy. I mean, I remember those days for sure. So I guess I'm not too surprised, but it's just, yeah, it kind of speaks to the fact that a lot of times there are big SEO agencies that put on a good front, but really
Yeah,
they're just outsourcing it or doing something super simple that maybe is shady as well.
for sure.
So let's jump into some link building campaigns. I would like listeners to walk away with maybe 2 or 3 really good ideas that they can implement into their own sites. And just to give you an idea of the audience, most of my listeners are probably doing affiliate marketing or building out niche sites, or they're bloggers, right? Just so very content heavy sites where they're writing articles that they're hoping to rank for in Google. And I know before our call, you shared, I think, 5 or 6 just different sort of link building strategies that you've had success with. So I'm going to just, whatever one you want to start with, like, what do you think is a good idea? Somebody that's doing affiliate marketing, has this content heavy site, like,
Hmm.
what's a good link building strategy for them?
The first thing I'd recommend is basically turning your prospecting list of link building opportunities into a piece of content. So, for example, let's say we'll stick with the gardening niche. Maybe you sell gardening products. So, create an article of the top 50 or top 100 gardening blogs on the web.
Okay.
What you're going to do is you're going to if you've done your prospecting, you're already going to have that data, or it's not too hard to get this together. Have a writer just write a few sentences about each one, just like a little custom blurb. You can have them check out their about page and get some information. And what you're going to do is you're going to reach out to all 50 or 100 sites and say, hey, love what you're doing over there. Just want to let you know you made our list. Congratulations. If you want to have an embeddable badge for them, you can, but it's not necessary. And then what we found is this is a great way to start building relationships with bloggers. Because if you just reach out to someone with cold, the chances are that if they're getting pitched dozens of times a day, they're probably not going to open your email or respond to you. But if you're giving to them first, it's an easy way to scale relationship building, because relationship building is really what makes the difference in link building. And I've tried everything. I've tried, let's try commenting on their blogs so they know who we are. Well, that takes way to write a legitimate comment. You have to read the article. It's not scalable. We tried emailing, a bunch of different bloggers, asking them like the same question about like, hey, what's your opinion on this? And then someone responded like, I'm just curious, why are you emailing dozens of people asking the same question? Like, okay, maybe we should maybe we should shy away from that strategy. So this is a really good way to scale relationship building, and you have a piece of content. Every time we've done this, it usually drives in thousands of visits of traffic. So if you're like an ad focused website, this is going to be especially big for you. Um,
And so
and
what do you specifically ask for in your email? You've done the write up and you say, hey, we mentioned you here. Are you shooting for the link right away? Are you asking them to share it on
It's a
social?
very
All of the
soft.
above?
It's a very soft. We don't ask for anything.
Okay.
Um, our thought and what we found just from years of outreach, if they want to link to it, they will, and you ask them to do it, usually doesn't have the biggest impact on them doing it. I mean, I'd say there's a minor benefit, but we'll say, we usually say like, hey, you're feel free to share this if you'd like to, or link to it if you'd like to, but we're never going to ask them to. And even if we don't ask them to, we'll still get a pretty significant portion of people to link to it, especially if they have like a press page where they list all the places they've been mentioned on the web. They're happy to showcase how awesome their site is or how awesome they are. So they'll oftentimes mention to it from a press page or other places like that. So this works really well. I don't know if you want to keep video only or do screen sharing. I could pull up an example, or we could just walk through.
Yeah, you could share an example. For audio listeners, we'll talk it through, but
Yeah,
this will definitely be on video, so people can do that. That'll allow you to share your screen there.
cool.
Sorry about the pause there.
Yeah, no
All
worries.
right.
So here's an example. One client we worked with is Matcha.com. They sell matcha green tea, really high grade green tea from Japan. And we first thing we did is sat down and say, who do we want to target to get links from? And we decided there's a lot of healthy living and wellness blogs that are talking about healthy teas and different alternative things you can take to stay healthy. So we created this piece of content for them. It was the 80 plus must read healthy living and wellness blogs. We have kind of just like a summary at the top, which has these like jump down links, which will take you to each section, a screenshot of their website, a little blurb about each one. I mean, it looks like a lot, but when you break it down, it's just having a writer write a few sentences about each one, and then a VA take a screenshot of the
Right.
sites to compile a list.
And it's scalable. I mean, it's
Yeah.
repeatable. It's yeah, not difficult.
So I'll pull up some data on this. Let's make it actionable. This one piece of content has 64 backlinks to it,
Wow.
which is huge. And then it actually ranks pretty well. So if we dive into the keyword rankings a bit, ranks number 3 for health blogs, number 2 for wellness blogs. So it's driving a lot of traffic too. So here's I always look for where you can get the most benefits for doing one thing, and this is one of those things we're able to build relationships, we're able to track links and drive traffic. So it was a really effective strategy, and it's really straightforward.
Yeah, that's really good. And so maybe take us sort of the second step, right? You send one email and maybe you get somebody that responds positively, like, thanks,
Hmm.
appreciate it. What do you do to kind of nurture a relationship beyond that? Is that just something? Anyways, I'll let you explain.
No,
What do you
you're right
do?
on track. So all right, now we're on step 2. Now
Yeah,
they have a favorable impression of us. One thing we've had a lot of success with is what we call a collaborative post. So maybe we'll reach out to everyone and say, hey, we're actually doing a roundup of information. We'd love to get your thoughts on what are some of tips to stay healthy in 2021, or um, foods that you can eat that will keep you healthy that a lot of people don't know about. To come up with a question that you think would catch their attention, ask all the people who responded favorably. You'll get maybe a few sentences and sometimes a few paragraphs each, and boom, they just wrote another piece of content for you. So you can put that on your site. That could drive traffic, but a lot of times these collaborative posts also get backlinks. Like if they're a part of it, they'll likely share it.
right.
They'll oftentimes they'll link to it. So we've had a lot of these that get backlinks from some of the contributors. Like, oh, I wrote this for this article or for this blog. So it keeps the momentum going of this top influencer roundup. And now you can kind of just nurture those relationships while also getting more content, getting more traffic, and getting more links.
Yeah, very good. Is there an optimal number of blogs or a optimal number for the list that you create? Is it between 30 and 80, or because you could do like 500,
you,
but
you
then it
could.
gets probably devalues like everybody that's listed, right?
It's one of those things. We found the sweet spot is like 50 to 100, probably
Okay.
closer to 80 if I'm picking one number.
Okay.
Um, if you go too low, you don't have many prospects to get results from.
Yeah.
You go too high, and it becomes a lot more work, and you kind of start getting closer to the bottom of the barrel of quality sites.
Yeah. And so on the quality of sites, do you truly just list like the best everything? Like, even if it's clearly like a blog that it's probably run by a corporation that's never going to
Yeah.
respond to you, or do you kind of like, I know this is run by an individual that maybe they have a domain authority that's within reach or something?
We do both. So
Okay.
we're always going to start the list with the big players everyone knows about. Like I think on this one, let me pull it up on my screen again. Yeah, there's a reason Healthline is number one.
Yeah.
And some of these big blogs are, but
Yep.
once you start scrolling down, it's going to be some smaller blogs that are more obtainable. So we want to have the big players up top, so it gives it the credibility and authority, and then you start bringing in the ones that you're most likely going to get links from.
And is this something that you could replicate like on Matcha.com? Is this something that you could do over and over again? Like, you're doing health and wellness blogs, but could you find like another little niche that's still related, and go, okay, I don't know that I'm trying to think of something off the top of my
Yeah,
head
let's
that,
see. So they sell tea. So we got health, we got wellness. Maybe it's like Japanese culture blogs.
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, you could do like top Japanese travel blogs.
Yeah.
And so basically, step one is figure out who's your target audience, which segments can you go after for link building, and you could make the same type of post for all those different segments.
Yeah. Very good. I want to give you a chance to give a couple more link building strategies. So maybe we'll move on from this one unless there's something else you want to add there. Yeah, what other ideas do you have? Another sort of strategy, another angle that people can take to get some links to their site?
So taking this a step further, so like one of the more unique ideas, and I can't take credit for it. I heard it at MozCon in 2012. Patty Mugen, who wrote the link building book, this was a tip from him. It's called book bait, where you actually crowdsource the content of a book and publish it. So the
Hmm.
last strategy I talked about was this collaborative post, where you reach out to people, they write a few sentences or paragraphs, you put into a post, and then you say, hey, you're on it, and then you can get links and shares. Well, this book bait, I'll call it, takes it a step further. We're not just getting content for a post; we're getting content for a book. So we did this before, and it worked surprisingly well. It was a lot of work our first time doing it because you got to like have a designer like format the template of the book and like which illustrations are we going to have and get someone to design the book cover. But it's actually pretty easy. There's this company called lulu.com. They do self-publishing. I think we had 30. We reached out. This was for Filter Buy. They sell replacement air filters, and
Okay.
as you can imagine, replacement air filters isn't the sexiest product. There's not a
No,
lot of
it's
people
not.
looking for it. So we had to get really creative with them. And what we did is we found a lot of bloggers and journalists and influencers that talk about how to keep your home environmentally friendly, how to have how to avoid indoor air pollution, how to avoid using like toxic chemicals and products at home. So we came up with the topic for the idea of the happy, healthy home. And we reached out to all these bloggers that talk about eco-friendly topics, environmentally friendly topics, etc. And we actually got a lot that were interested. Like, wow, I'm going to be selected to like be have a part in this book. Like, yes. So we got hundreds of words from each contribution. I mean, the book ended up being close to 100 pages of just all these 30
Hmm.
people crowdsourced information.
Wow.
And I mean, I can pull it up on screen if you'd like.
Sure. Since we're here.
Yeah, let me filter by happy.
And so is the idea to, well, is the end goal, do you hope to actually make a little bit of money selling the book, or is it more just marketing strategy?
Just marketing strategy. We're
Yeah.
not expecting to make much money from it. However, there are some other benefits. Like the client now had a great lead magnet for their email address. It doesn't look like they're using it anymore, but there was a time where it's like, hey, enter your email address, get our free PDF of the Happy Healthy Home, normally $30. So you can see all the contributions we got. Here's what the book looked like. So I'll just kind of do a quick scroll through. And for those listening, we had a table of contents. We had a little intro that we wrote about it and the influencers. And we just got all these different, it's kind of like a roundup of blog posts, like a bunch of little mini
Right.
blog posts giving tips. We had our graphic designer do the visuals for it just to kind of make it stand out a bit more. And then at the end of it, let me go through at the very end, we had just all the contributors at the end. We mentioned their website, their name, a little profile. So we're giving
Yep.
them
Got a
value.
picture. Yep.
Yeah. And a lot of them had never been featured in a book before. So they were like super happy. So here's where we got the backlinks. We mailed everybody who contributed a free copy of the book. And they shared it on social media. They linked to it from their website. So it
Totally.
worked really well. And with lulu.com, I think our total cost for this project was like between $600 to $800.
And that's to have them format and create the book in the right format. You
And
send them all the
do the
content.
publishing, and that includes the actual shipping of all the books. Like
Oh, wow.
so it's not that much to do the actual publishing part of it. They make their money when you ship it,
Yeah.
so that's the main cost.
Very cool. And I saw that it was available on Amazon. Do you mind clicking on the Amazon link? I just curious if it's just for free or if it's, you could buy paperback for $30.
Yeah, 30
I
bucks.
don't suspect they sell it. They've got one rating. So
One thing, if
it's
you
kind of
do go,
expensive for a,
yeah, exactly. We're not looking to make much money off it. And I think since
sure.
does the publishing. I can't remember. It's been a while. I can't remember if they published it on this one or if we did it separately. But we're not expecting to make much money. We're not doing a whole book promotion because like that's a whole nother animal in itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we did get a lot of people contributing who are like, hey, what am I going to get paid for this? Like, are you guys just making money off me for free? And for that, we always just pick a charity beforehand and we just say all the proceeds are going to go to this charity.
All
So
right.
it also gets more people likely to help out. But yeah, I've never really seen anyone else do this before, but it works really well if you want to be brave and try something different.
Yeah. Do you have any idea, like the number of links or some results specifically for the site, anything like that?
Yeah, let's take a look. This was a while ago, but let's see. Let's paste this into Ahrefs.
Yeah.
I think we did this campaign in 2016. So let's see what they've had. It has 15 referring domains, but at its peak, it had like 25 to 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Hmm.
And I'm sure, yeah, just the buzz surrounding even social shares and things like that,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, even at 15, let's see, 15 links, $800. Let's say, I think it was like $700. So 700 divided by 15. It's like less than $50 a link. If you can get quality links for under $50 a link, I'd say it's pretty solid.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That's a good one. That's a good one. What else you got? I'm gonna keep picking your brain. Let's just keep you spilling everything you got.
Yeah. So
Uh,
let's stick with Matcha for a while.
okay.
So I mentioned before, if you're doing link building and you're reaching out to websites, reaching out to blogs, a very large portion of them are going to charge you. Like this is how they make money. This is their business. Like, even if you're a blog and you're not an e-commerce site, not selling anything, they're probably going to charge maybe 30 to 150 bucks. Even if you're writing like if you're doing a guest post, you're going to write the content for them. They'll still charge you 30 to 150 dollars because that's how they get money. That's how they get paid.
Yeah.
And they're getting contacted all the time by SEO companies, e-commerce websites, affiliate websites. So it's just there's no reason for them not to charge when there's so many people willing to pay them. So we found kind of a workaround to this. We're fine letting everybody compete with blogs and try to get links from blogs. There's a whole nother section of the web full of these like kind of older, trusted like resource pages where they list recommended resources or suggested links. And we took this approach with Matcha. So for example, like what you can do, you enter your keyword. So like for them, it was let's just do like matcha or green tea. And then what you want, here's this where it gets interesting. Add a site modifier for .gov or .edu. And now you're going to see all these different websites that are on government or university websites talking about your products. And these are going to be, this is right now we're just trying to find topics. We're trying to see what's like a good topic to go after. And
Right.
when we did this, we found there was, let me scroll down here, Shadow. We found there's a lot of these things talking about like culinary clubs, Japanese tea ceremonies. There's these little organizations. So we dove into this a bit more. There's something called chado, which is Japanese tea ceremony.
Hmm.
And then you can validate your topic by doing something like this. You have your proposed topic, and then you do NURL links.html or NURL resources to see how many of these like links pages and resource pages are there. And we found a bunch. Like there's like 2,000 just like this. These
Wow.
little pages that it links to recommended articles or groups or organizations that have been around the web for years. They're not the prettiest pages, but they're,
Right. And for listeners, I mean, it's a web page that looks like it came from '99 or something,
yeah.
right?
These older ones, like maybe it's a school teacher who has her own page and links recommended resources for students, something like, or maybe a librarian. And we found there's all these websites, and the reason you can get such good response rates reaching out to these types of websites is their sole purpose is to link to you.
Hmm.
That's why they're there. These pages is just like, here's some good resources and links. So we found a whole bunch of these, and we reached out to them, and I can't remember with them if we actually if we were able to publish it on their website. But this is kind of just like this approach can work really, really well when you let everyone else compete for the blogs,
Right.
these sort of smaller niche websites, and if it's highly relevant, even if it's not as authoritative, it can still have a huge impact on backlinks.
And have you found that people were actually responsive on these sites? I mean, they're really old. Maybe the webmaster doesn't work there anymore, or, you know, I have to imagine a lot of these have just sort of fallen through the cracks and
It's
it's hard to
it
contact.
it's definitely hit or miss. There's going to be some that are older, that maybe they neglected the website, but there's also going to be some where they want their page to be more updated and useful, so they're more than happy to update it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's very good. I like that. I think that the people that are creative out there can probably find a topic
Mhm.
that they can do some of those advanced search queries that you mentioned and find a bunch of resource pages
Yeah,
for their sites.
I just checked. So I'll show you what this page actually looked like. So we built this page for matcha.com, had our graphic designer make it look really pretty. What is a Japanese tea ceremony, the origins of it, um, just kind of just doing some research, just basic thing information about Japanese tea ceremonies. So we created this page, we promoted it to all those groups that we found, and this got looks like right now at the second has 17 referring domains.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is just like if we were doing it full scale, you'd probably want to do this, for 4 or 5 or more pieces of content. But if you're
Right,
looking at how do you get in 2021, how do you get white hat links from content marketing? This is how you do it. That's at least what I've found. There's a lot of information out there that's kind of more unicorns and rainbows, where it's kind of more broad. They create great content. These are the little nuances that can help you get more backlinks from content.
right. And so for people, listening or watching here, they might think, oh, 17 referring domains, that's whatever, but you have to realize, and I've seen this, like a couple of links can really move the needle on some pages, or you can sort of flow that link juice to other pages, right? Using internal
Exactly.
links. Like a couple of links can go a long way.
That's totally it. And keep in mind, like, what's good about this approach, you don't have to worry about what's Google's future policy is going to be.
Right.
Stuff that we've seen it all the time, stuff that works today, there's no guarantee it's going to work tomorrow. It's the safe bet. You're getting links from relevant websites. These are the kind of links that we know are going to be evergreen, that you never have to worry about. I mean, I'll be the first to admit PBNs and private blog network links work amazingly well. But Google's got teams of people with PhDs whose one job it is to make them not work amazingly well.
Right.
And you never know
It's a
until that
scary
day.
place to be.
Exactly. Like I know with Build My Rank, like when that day came, they got de-indexed. Like it wasn't fun, and I still have scars from that moment. So that's kind of why I committed myself to figuring out what works and get good at that. Because you never have to worry about learning a new skill set. Because what are you going to do once Google penalizes? If it gets really good at penalizing private blog networks and some other questionable link building strategies.
Right. Exactly. I agree. So we maybe have time for one more. If you've got any other sort of little strategies that you think people can be applying to their sort of content sites, just anything else beyond, the sort of the standard, right, is,
Mm-hmm.
doing guest posts, right? Everybody's like, just reach out and do guest posts. But you've shared some really good ideas. I want to see if I can tap your brain for one more here.
So these are the ones that I can speak to. There's ones that we're testing right now that like aren't we're getting some early signs of success, but it's not working as well, or it's not like streamlined yet where I can confidently say like, hey, you can do this. It's repeatable. You get results. One strategy that I can just talk about that's working well. It's like call it like local bait. Like maybe if you're doing gardening, you can do like top 10 cities. For gardening enthusiasts, and then you write an article, you list the different cities, and your target here is you're going after local journalists like that write for local newspapers, local magazines, that are on local radio shows. I remember being a kid listening to local radio morning shows, and they'd always be like, "Oh, like our city was featured as one of the top 10, dog-friendly cities," or
Right.
whatever it is. So they're always looking for this kind of content and looking for something to write about. So if you can pick a good topic and you can kind of like, you come up with like the top 10, and all those top 10 sites are ones that you're going to target and reach out to. It's minimal work and you can get some good results.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that working really well. I mean, especially, it almost seems like the smaller the town,
Yeah,
like they're more proud of some recognition,
for sure.
right? And so if you get creative, I'm sure there's a ton of ideas, and I probably could do this for Own the Yard, because it's related to either gardening or landscaping
Hmm.
or, other things. I'm sure there's some things that I could be doing there, if I were to get creative.
Yeah, a lot of these like every single newspaper now has a website. Like every single newspaper before now has a website, and those websites are pretty authoritative. So,
Yep.
if you even if you got like if you did this and maybe only got a few links, it's minimal effort, and you can get a lot of natural backlinks. And even if you got a few, that's still going to have some pretty strong authority.
Yeah. Yep, it 100% is. So I think we're just about out of time for at least diving into new strategies. You've given us a lot of really good ones that I think people can apply to their own websites. Kind of coming back to the business of what you're involved with your agency and with Link Hunter. Is there anything new on the horizon? What does the future look like for Jeff?
Oh, for me personally, or for SEO?
For you, like, what do you have any new businesses planned or new sites, or is it just sort of focusing on what you
Yeah.
got?
So, most of my time right now goes towards just the consulting side. So helping other businesses, mainly e-commerce businesses, grow. And my goal has always been to build the best e-commerce SEO company in the world, and kind of still going down that goal where like every single process, everything we do is the best it can be. I feel like we're pretty good at the on page, but there's still a whole bunch of link building stuff that I want to like. I've shown you a lot now, but
Right.
there's more I want to test. Like, we're testing things with like, creating statistics pages. We're testing things like using SurveyMonkey to get like, do surveys and get actual results and pitch that data to journalists. So I want to see what else is possible with link building, and kind of take it to a completion. So that's kind of like my main focus now, while also making Link Hunter to be the best link building tool it can be. So those are like my two main goals right now.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. You've got a lot on your plate already. Clearly, you probably don't need to be starting another business. So, um, I hope it continues to go well, and I appreciate the knowledge that you've shared here. As it relates to Link Hunter, if people want to get access to that, I know you've been kind enough to offer a discount. Why don't you let people know what they can do there?
Yeah, so Link Hunter will already have a 7-day free trial if you want to take it for a spin and see if it's for you. Then the lowest plan is $49 a month, so it's cheaper than a lot of the other link building tools out there. But just to make it even more cheaper for you guys, we have a 50% off your first month discount code. So at checkout, just enter niche pursuits, and that'll automatically be applied.
Yep. Perfect. And people can go through the link nichepursuits.com/link hunter. That'll get them to a special landing page where they can see the details and get the coupon code and all that as well. So thank you for that. I appreciate it very much. If people want to follow along with you or get in touch with you, where should they go?
So I'm like the worst when it comes to social media. But if you just want to shoot me an email, it's jeff at 180marketing.com. Just jeff at 180marketing.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Jeff, for coming on the show. It's been great talking about Link Hunter, talking about all your SEO strategies and all the link building strategies that you've shared. It's been great. So I appreciate you coming on.
Awesome. Thanks, Spencer. No worries.
All right. Thank you, guys.